Hey guys, hope you're all well. Right, I'm going to start dipping into the dreaded bit of any build. The dreaded bit for me. Oh, before I get started, I'm going to do a shameless plug. So if you don't like that sort of thing, nip off and make a cup of tea and come back in a minute. I have some new stickers. Well, the start of them. I have a few new designs coming up, but I'm going to try and do a few. And all the proceeds are going to the BMW charity fund. I told you it was shameless. Yeah, hey, it's worth a try. It's worth a try. I'm desperately trying to keep this bike, as you know, and I'm going to try everything I can to do so. So yeah, I have some simple ones to start with. Then, give you the idea of the size. There's my phone. Ideal for toolboxes. Look good on toolboxes. Look good on your bike. Like that. Or wherever. Down your forks. Like that. I don't know. On your forehead. I've got a different one for my forehead. It says something slightly different, but we won't share that. Yeah, anywhere. So that's the start of them. I've got a few of them. They'll be going on eBay. The link to the eBay is in the description of all the videos. So if you felt like you wanted a sticker, I would really be very happy if some of them started shifting. Like I say, I've got a... Oh, remember the Lack of Action Man ones I've done that everyone seemed to like? I've done a slightly different version of that, a slightly smaller one. Again, toolboxes, whatever. So yeah, I've got some of them coming, and if it turns out to be a bit of a successful thing with new stickers on, on the old eBay, I shall do a few more. Like I say, it's all going towards the grand plan. So fingers crossed. Not trying to force you to do it. Only have one if you wish to buy one. Simple as that. Anyway, the dreaded wiring. So a friend of mine came across. I did mention that me and a mate of mine was going to dip into this and start trying to work it all out. But we got slightly sidetracked because another friend came across yesterday who's just bought a 1200 BMW, just slightly later on to this, and we completely stripped his final drive out. This bit, that bit there, which on his is completely different to what I've got here, totally different. And yeah, that ended up, it wasn't a 5-minute job. In fact, it turned into about 8 hours, 9 hours, something like that. Maybe more, I don't know. It was all day and well into the evening, like 10 and 11 o'clock or something like that. What a nightmare that was to pull apart. Absolute nightmare. So we ended up making specialist tools. This is where the time started ticking up, to pull it all apart. And luckily we had the old press there to help us pull it apart, because it was a monumental job, and we replaced all the seals in there and stuff like that. Anyway, we got that done. We all got sidetracked, everybody doing a little bit on that job, so the wiring took the back seat. So today I'm going to have a little dip into it. Obviously we're not going to get it done or anything like this. This is going to be a massive job, but I want to try and start getting my head around it, because yeah, it's quite a scary bunch of wires. This bike is not the canvas system, which is a bonus in certain ways. Now, but bear in mind, I am absolutely no wiring expert, no electrical expert on vehicles at all. Bear that in mind. I just sort of fumble my way through it, to be honest. So yeah, this is not the canvas system. As some of you may be aware, if you start messing about with that sort of system, adding extra electrical items to it, let's say spotlights on your adventure bikes, it doesn't like it. They either won't work, or they'll start flashing or coming on for 5 seconds then turning off. It causes all sorts of problems adding stuff to a CAN bus system, and you can normally have to go through a load of things to fool the system to make it think it's not got these extra electrical items on and stuff like that. Someone mentioned a BIOS system. Like I say, don't take my word for anything that I say about electrics, please don't. But I've got to admit, I've done a little bit of Googling because I have no clue. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. And it seems like this BIOS system that was mentioned is more for your computers, like your own computers and things like that. That uses a BIOS system. Like I say, even saying this, I have no clue what I'm talking about. I'm just basically sort of relaying a little bit of what I've read. This is a very basic system on this bike. The CAN bus system, it vastly reduces the wiring on anything, which is great. But on this, with it being a very basic system, it has double the amount of wiring, quadruple the amount of wiring, tons of fuses, tons of relays. So there's a lot more to go through, but we should be able to sort it out to get the basics so the bike starts like that. That definitely won't be happening in this video. I just want to try and wrap my head around some of this and perhaps get some things plugged back in and just basically chip away at it, trying to work it out. And then obviously we'll be introducing the Motor Gadget M unit. That will simplify a hell of a lot on this bike and reduce the wiring as well. But to start with, I want to try and start tidying things up, and when we have figured out all the wires that start the bike, we'll know what we can sort of start chopping out and replacing with a simpler system through the Motor Gadget M unit. That's sort of the plan. I don't know how it's going to go. We're just going to have to get on with it and see. So it's going to be drinking lots of tea, keeping calm, and just trickle through it. Let's pull the bike out and have a look at what a mess we've got to start with. Doesn't look good, does it? I don't quite know where to start. Probably by unraveling it. So it is the brainy bit. And what have we got there? Probably about 30 wires coming out of there. And then it just progressively gets worse. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll start by unraveling it. I don't quite know. Oh, there's a bit. And figuring out, well, try and figure out where some of these plugs went. I know some of them are going to be redundant because we haven't got all the standard things going up there, like the standard switch gear, the dashboard or anything. So a lot of this is going to be sort of redundant. What else did I spot? Where is it? We got stuff like this that's just been clipped. We've got aftermarket bodges. No idea what that was. I had obviously not touched anything on this bike bar take it apart. So yeah, I don't know what that afterthought was. Someone's obviously done something at some point in the bike's life. And we've got all that there. We have an inline fuse. That's definitely not standard to the bike, I would have thought. So I don't know what that would have been for. We have more cropped wires there. No idea. We have more cropped wires there. No idea. It's not looking good, is it? Does anybody want to buy an unfinished project? Right, yeah, we'll tuck into it. We'll just persevere and keep plodding away. This might not be the most exciting part of this build to watch, but it's not going to work without it being sorted out. I'm not continuing with that little side panel because I haven't had that little catch turn up yet. Hence why I'm having a brief look at the wiring here. So, yeah, I know what that bit is. That's the get out the way button thing. That's still plugged in. That's a bonus. Yeah. I think I'm going to start by unraveling all this cover, because we need to get at all these wires and basically try and identify what they all do or what they all did. Right. Let's get stuck in. This well, it's bound up like an Egyptian mummy. Proper gone hard and tight. That can't be standard Arno, is it? That's horrific. Oh, watch it. Obviously watching I don't cut into wires. Some bits are a bit gooey and some bits are rock hard. I suppose I could get like the air dry on it and soften it up. We'll see how we go. I just want to get all the wires exposed and loose so we can start seeing what we got to keep and what we haven't. This is horrible stuff. Need hammer and chisel on that bit. That is dry. If that is done out, it's done in the factory, that's terrible. Big clump of that there. There must be 30 layers going around some bits of this harness. Gotta be. It's proper thick. That is mental. It'll get there bit by bit. Just obviously don't want to slide through any of the wires, just in case they're the ones we got to keep. That's horrible stuff, that is. Right, that's them ones free. That's good. I was just wondering what that was then. I think that's the... Is that the redundant one for the ABS? I think it is. Yeah, there's a bit to sort out, because I don't particularly just want to leave that hanging around. I'd rather try and get rid of it or make a better job of blanking it off. Because yeah, this bike didn't have ABS when I bought it. Someone had took it off. I've no idea what's going to be under there. That's going to be interesting. Right, the snake has shed its skin. Yes, it looks worse. This is going to be an interesting job. So, where'd you start with that lot? I guess these are, you know, you got common lives, so they'll all join up and things like that. All the ones that are common, they just joined them up. I believe that's what all this is. So yeah, basically, out of that lot, we have got to get the running side of the bike, pluck it all out, pluck it like a chicken. Oh dear. I have had a look at the manual though. It's quite good because it breaks everything down, which is going to be a tremendous help. So here we are with the manual. R1150 GS. It did have ABS, so I can forget all this. We may find remnants of this, but if we do, I can sort of get rid of the rest of it. This is the engine management side of things. This is the bit that we've sort of got to mess about with. And then, you know, it's got the bit for the heated bar grips. Rider information display, we don't want that. I mean, this is just going to be like your speedo lights and all bits like that, I would imagine. Like I say, the bike had no clever stuff on it whatsoever. What we got? You know, starter alternator. Obviously we've got to keep that with it. Lighting, turn signals, all this will be taken care of with the M unit. So it does seem a little bit, not, it seems a lot daunting at the moment. Like loss of sleep daunting. But just a bit of patience, plenty of tea. I'm sure we'll get through it. Obviously, I don't think my mate's going to be able to make it tonight, but banging two of our heads together, I'm pretty sure we'll suss this out. Well, we've got to. We've got no choice. But this is the fuse relay box. All that originally would have gone under the seat. As I say, the M unit's going to vastly reduce all this. We got the ECU. That would have been under the tank. So I'm going to try and sort of unravel some of this so I can see where it's going. There's 26 wires coming out the ECU for the management system. I've got to do things like get the injector wires back on and stuff like that, and gradually build the running side of the bike back up. Yeah, it's easy. Red to red, black to black, blue to bits. That's probably how it'll go. This is diagnostics. I recognise that. That's exactly the same what was on my S1000. That will probably have a bit of a like, what the hell's going on moment for a while. But We'll sort it. We'll sort it. You know, all these plugs, we'll sort this out. It's alternator, I think one's oil, one of them, which one's which? I can't see it, I'll see around the other side. I think one's oil temp or pressure or whatever, one's alternator. Things like that will be really, really simple, because it'll literally only marry up to one plug in this lot. The injectors, there'll be only, well, two plugs. Obviously we've got 2 cylinders. Whether you can get them the wrong way round, I don't know, but again, they're the little things we'll iron out and solve. I think all of this big clutch of wiring is, if I remember right, you got to bear in mind, it was a long time ago, wasn't it? It's a few years ago now when all this come to bits. This is one of the problems of starting something and walking away from it for far too long. Different reasons why it happened, along with other things as well. I think that was what sort of serviced everything up the handlebar end. So most of that will probably be going and vastly reduced. I think the orange one is the ignition key. I'm not sure yet, but we'll sort all that out. Bits like that, you know, whatever I've got to plug back in to make this engine run, I'm going to get plugged back in, and then it will be slowly getting rid of everything else, then completely rebuilding all that. I think like I say, it's probably going to be a lot of guesses. I'm going to turn the comments off. Only joking, I won't. Some of you might be helping me. I need you in the comments, everybody. Help me out. I don't know, it's just going to be a bit of a steady process. And I think after going all through that, it's going to be a joyful moment when that bike fires into life. There'll be a bit of dancing and singing doing and things like that. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of other choice things going on in the build up to it. Yeah, I'll say, if I'll be much happier when the running side of it is done and it does start up and run. The rest of it, that's relatively easy. Right, I'm going to start trying to find a few plugs all to do with the ignition side of the bike. Let's see what we can sieve out of that lot. My first label is going on. On. I say I'm going to label everything, well, as much as I can, whether it's going to get eliminated or kept in the loom. Basically, doing this, I'll know what everything is, so I know what I'm doing with it as I go through the whole lot. This obviously will be different. This will be all getting operated off the M unit, but I now know what that is, so we can also untangle these things as best we can. No, or can't. Glasses are falling off my head. Let's get rid of them a minute. Yeah, some of it's just going to be impossible to untangle, I think. Right, next bit. Okay, here we've got one of the injector plugs. So basically that'll plug in up on the throttle bodies up here. Then that all links in. You see that goes into these links here where we've got several wires going together. The green one goes into that one, yellow one goes into that one. Then that will all go into like the fuel pump, the fuel relay and all that, so it's all linked, so it's all talking to each other. That's my understanding of it. I think. So yeah, I I might just plug that on the injector actually. It's got to go there. But there's two. Does it matter? At the end of the day, if I've got them, if you can get them wrong, and I've got them wrong, I'll just swap them over. Okay, I found the other injector plug. In the book, it's got both plugs on like a yellow wire with like a grey tracer and a green wire with a white tracer. Both plugs. But on the bike, one of the plugs are brown wires. Gonna be like that, is it? What book's this? Ah, Haynes Book of Fairy Tales. This is gonna be interesting. It's definitely the injector plug. It fits absolutely nothing else. It is just for that. So it's got to go on there. You would have thought they would be differently colour coded on the wiring, wouldn't you, if they have got to go on a certain side? That would make sense, but the book's not making sense. Yeah, these are going to be the little obstacles we're just going to have to try and jump over. So we know where the horn is. That's not part of this anyway, but I've labelled it anyway, so we know what it is. We've got the two injectors identified, but if they're sided, not identified, but we know what they are. So I'll label them. What have we got next? We've got a coding plug. Coding plug. What's a coding plug? I'm gonna find that. I wonder if that's something like, this is a guess, coding plug. I wonder if that's something like they have different codings, maybe bikes for different countries where the emissions are a bit more restrict or whatever, and they're set up slightly different. Possibly. Was that a thing back then? This bike's like 26, 27 years old, something like that. Yeah, it would have been, wouldn't it? I know quite often, like, models made for the American market are different to European market, stuff like that. That coding plug could be something to do with that. Anyway, we'll find out. Right, oxygen sensors. That's obviously for the exhaust pipes. I think there's two of them. One was in the cat. I'm thinking of putting that into my link pipe just so it's got them. So I haven't got to try and confuse that system. I don't know if that will work, but we won't know till we do it. I'm sure it's got two. Is it? I don't know. We'll find out. But there's definitely one in the cat that's took off. It's been obviously decatted, and we've got a wide link pipe, which a lot of people do. So I'm not too worried about that. Diagnostic plug, I know where that is. So we're going to start finding like the fuel relay pumps, Motronic relay, fuel pump and fuel level sensor. That'll be for the the fuel pump and the fuel gauge, I guess. Then we've got the ignition switch. Don't know which way I'm going to go with that yet. I don't even know where the old ignition is for it. I don't even know where the key is for it. So this might be getting a different fuel filler neck. I don't know where the key is. No idea. Side stand switch. Yeah, that's going. Yeah. Anything that could possibly give us a little bit of trouble is off. Eviction. You can have your eviction notice side stand switch. I think that might be a really simple fix to fall that. Let's find the coil, because we've also, not in this video, we've also got to make a bracket for the ignition coil as well. Let's find the wires for the coil. Right, we have the ignition coil. I've given that a bit of a clean. As daft as it may seem, this one was already connected, so we know that's the right cylinder bank. Yeah, it might seem silly, but I'm eliminating absolutely everything where we could come across potential running problems. Right, I think another good thing about all this as well, all the plugs on the bike literally only marry up to what they've got to plug into. So see, we got this plug here, there won't be another plug on the bike like that, which will make some things, yeah, really simple. But yeah, we have got to make a bracket for that up in the frame somewhere, which ain't no big deal. Right, let's find that plug that goes in there. We'll plug that other HT lead in, and then we'll find a comfortable place for that where everything reaches, and that's where we'll put the bracket. Right, do you know what I was just saying about the bike seems to have individual plugs for everything, so it'd be quite easy to identify. It turns out I was lying. What a daft bunch of plugs to make the same. 2 injectors, the same plug. Oil temp sensor, same plug. Air intake temperature sensor, same plug. Yeah. So, yes, the one I said had brown wires, it may be right, it may be correct. I'll have a look in the book in a minute. Now this is what it's all about. We got to iron all this out. I'm not going to make any excuses, I'm no expert at this at all, but we will plod through it. Right, so that could be oil temp or air temp. That one. That's brown. The one I thought they'd got wrong, or the book was wrong. Oh, here we go. So that's, there we are. That's oh no, that's green and blue tracer. What's the book say? The book says it's a green and a yellow wire. That's 2 greens with 2 different tracer colours. Somewhere there's another plug that looks like one of them. Somewhere in this lot, in this mess. Where are you? Which I'm hoping when we find it, it is green and yellow. Yellow, where are you? Not that one. It's probably the one that's been ripped out and got lost 3 years ago. No, I shouldn't start saying stuff like that. Keep your mouth shut. That's not it. I've plugged that one in. Right, I'm gonna quickly look at the book and make sure what's what, plug them in, see if that's the oil or the air. Let's find that out first. Or is that oil or the air? Same plugs, different colours. Okay, we've got a result. He was hiding down here, so that one I would definitely, come on, say that one's for this side. Well, that's good. So let's have you on there, and with, well, yeah, green and yellow wires. Sorry, Haynes Book of Fairy Tales, you was correct. I was wrong. And then I think I might be better swapping all this glitter wiring over to the other side of the bike. Right, I've got the oil temp in. That's got to go over to the other injector. All we need now is air temp up on the airbox there. Right, I found it again. That's the air temperature one on the airbox. Right, that's where it belongs. Let me get that knife out of there. Right, that's that then. Injectors connected, oil temp connected, air temp connected, alternator. Let's find that one. It's gonna need that. Right, just go and look at the book. Right, that one is not alternator. Of course, because it's only like really small wires. That is timing sensor. That's alternator. That's battery. That's battery and frame earth. Them two. And then this is all going into this. I think this, now this is just a guess, is something to do with what someone's done to get rid of the ABS. Whether this is some homemade thing going on, I don't know. Dare I take that sleeving off it? I know it works. I've ridden the bike and the bike's fine. Don't know if it'll ever start ever again. But yeah, that's alternator. That goes on to a fixing down there. Definitely, that goes under there. I'll put that on in a minute. So we've got to find timing. That's definitely timing. And we've got to find the one for the coil. So let me connect that. So that's that ticked off then. And then we'll find these. Coil and timing. No, I got it the wrong way around again. This is going to happen a lot, but there's going to be a little bit of a lot of trial and error on this. Turns out that one's not the owner. That is definitely battery live. The big heavy wire to the battery and the starter motor. This one is alternator. But what I've got going on here, this is sort of got itself all involved with this big clutch of wire in here. So I think the easiest thing I can do when we get to things like that is basically disconnect the wires, snip them or whatever, and unravel them, so we're starting to sort of separate all this mess, which will make it easier to start putting things tidy on the bike. So yeah, I've got to get that, it's in a loop in there, away. So I'm going to try and carefully take it off this fixing, and what I think I might do is order a scattering of bits and bobs like this, so when I do cut things to unravel this and untie it, we'll be putting new ones back on. But I'm going to cut this for now and see if I can just temporarily put it on there, and then we will replace all these connectors. Yeah, at least I can untie it from this big clutch of loom here and get it out and get it up to where it's supposed to be going, the direction, instead of dragging all that lot with me to do it. Okay then, it's getting late. At least we've made a start. I have been out doing other things today, as usual. I don't know if I'm feeling confident just yet. This is going to be a task. It really is. Especially when, like I say, wiring is not my strong point at all. But, like I say, as I go along, I'm going to try and sort of untie all this, because it is in a monumental mess. What I think I've got to do is going to be a bit of a pain, but I think I'm going to do it, because all this should be in there. So what I'm going to do, I've obviously just left it all dangling down while I've had this frame off and on and on and off and all that over time. So what I'm going to do on the next video is get all our subframe off and this rear part of the frame, so we can get this in the center of the bike. You know how it's all passing through there and stuff, it all needs to be in there really. So I'm going to do that so it's sort of where it's got to be, which will give us a bit of idea of wire lengths and stuff like that as we chip away at it. I cut the eyelet off that. I've just put a bit of shrink wrap around that. I know that is 100% going to the alternator, so I've got to buy some new connectors, because I wouldn't mind putting all new connectors on this anyway. This one's battery, that is the live of the battery. Then we've got to get all the, where is it, it's somewhere in there, the earth side of things. I do think that's some sort of homemade thing to eliminate the ABS. We've got to strip it, haven't we, and have a look. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want that in my head, because I won't go to sleep. If I start thinking too much about this, it's already going to be a struggle to get to sleep. I'm just going to be seeing all this lot. But there's going to be a couple of times where a friend's going to join me, which would be fantastic. You know, he's had lots and lots of experience over the years messing about with bikes like myself, and two heads are better than one. Also, he's messed about with cars as well. I remember him doing something very similar to this with a kit car, putting a Vauxhall, I don't know, a Vauxhall engine in it. Is it a twin cam type thing in one of these little Westfieldy type kit cars? And that's exactly what he done with that. He whittled it down just to the parts that started the car. So he's going to be a wealth of information, hopefully, to chip away through this nicely. We'll see. We'll see. Like I say, I'm gonna remove the subframe tomorrow, or in the next video, as and when I get on with it. Like I say, I am doing things in the background, Enfield frame and stuff like that. We'll get that subframe off, get all that wiring back into the middle where it should be, and it's just going to give me a better idea of things. We'll sort of battery out. It would have been nice to find the ignition. It's got to be about somewhere. I may have a look for that as well. That might be a big dig to go and find that. Like spades, pickaxes, JCBs, just to dig through that back shed. Metal detectors, you name it. That could take like 6 months to find. Or I might just put my hands on it. It's got to be about somewhere. It'd be handy to have the ignition and the key. Why I didn't put that somewhere safe, I don't know. So that's on me. That's my own fault. So yeah, we'll just keep chipping away. I know it's not the most exciting part of any build. Some people don't mind it, but I am going to share it because it is a major part of the build of this bike. Getting all that spaghetti sorted out. Yeah. It's just stuff like this I actually do like doing in the evenings, because it's just quiet and less disturbances and stuff like that, when most normal people have got their feet up, sitting with their families, watching TV. Because I'm not normal, this is my relaxed time. Well, what air I've got left, I'll probably ripped it out by the time we finish this wiring. Well, see, they don't care either. I've had to get Bodie in here because that little thing is mental. It is bonfire night. There's a lot of fireworks going off. It don't scare them. Blue don't care whatsoever. But Bodie tries to chase them. Not in a frightened kind of way. He wants to catch them. He also does it when helicopters come across and loud airplanes come across. He runs up the garden trying to chase them because he's crackers. So I've had to get him in because let's say if a stray firework did come over the garden, he would try and attack it and then he's going to get hurt. So I've locked him in here because you're mad. Yes, you. You're mad. Oh, mate, you are. You're both daft. You are. I've put my nice clean coat down for the dogs to get filthy. So, oh well, they're comfy. Right, that'll do. We'll chip away at it. Like I say, it's going to be a bit of a process. Not too exciting, but it's all leading up to starting this bike, hopefully. That'll do, I think. Yeah, if you want to go and treat yourself to a sticker, don't forget, they will be on eBay. The price will be including the postage, the envelope and all that business. There may be a little postage charge for any going overseas. I'll let Trace sort that out. She's cleverer than me with that business. So yeah. Anyway, that'll do. I'm going. Cheers again for watching. Thank you all for the comments. If you can stop myself blowing myself up, if you're spotting me doing anything wrong, please chime in. It'd be much appreciated. And feel free to fill the comments with jokes and all that business, because I'm gonna need cheering up by the time I'm chipping through this. Wow. Right, cheers for watching, guys. Take care.